and I now give the floor to the Syrian Arab Republic.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My delegation once again calls upon the member states to vote against the Saudi draft resolution and not to submit to هلك أن تستخدم. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I did not say the Saudi regime. I said the Saudi draft resolution. That's what I said. I respected your decision, Mr. Chair. Let me repeat. My delegation once again calls upon the member states to vote against the Saudi draft resolution and not to submit to the acts of a carrot and stick of Saudi. And here I would like to say that in these meetings,
The request, please, to respect what we have been doing here for the past few weeks. Please use the official name of the country as yourself proposed, recognized by the United Nations.
I agree with you, Mr. Chair, and this is what I called for, but I'm not saying the word regime. I am just using the adjective, the Saudi. Of course, and we acknowledge this, Mr. Chair. We only use the adjective, the Saudi draft resolution, and we call upon others to use the official names. Of course, we acknowledge this in full. However, when I use Saudi, Saudi is an adjective, and it's not a name, it's not a noun. We say the sound.
Okay, please keep going.
In these meetings, we say the Saudi draft resolution. This name does not mean that we think that the delegation of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia are the owners of the initiative and are the ones who drafted the language of this draft resolution. Saudi authorities did not ever hear of human rights and related terminology except in this room. Saudi authorities usually resort to what they call fatwa to cover their violations of human rights, the rights of beast, plant, and even stone. Saudi is just a front for countries who are their paymasters and who are antagonizing my country, Syria. And I would like to stress this through pointing out that the authorities of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia prevent Syrian citizens for the 8th year in a row from performing Hajj, which is a pillar of Islam. And this is a violation of a fundamental human right, which is the right to practice religious freedom and religious practices. This is by the person who calls himself the custodian of the two holy shrines. He prevents Muslim Syrians from visiting the two holy shrines. Mr. Chair, my delegation categorically rejects all the contents of the draft resolution without exception. I would like to remind the states that believe in international law and the multilateralism and provisions of the Charter that this draft resolution goes beyond the prerogatives of this committee and will have PBIs starting 2020, as we clarified in the statement that we made yesterday. Let me stress once again, we will not drink from the river of Saudi Western madness, and we will not go after the attempts of Saudi Western to use this committee in propaganda to undermine my country. And this has been clearly proven when the delegation of Saudi yesterday insisted to table the draft resolution for voting after the adjournment and after the hours of interpreters, and we'd like to thank the interpreters for their work. This stresses the Saudi interest in media propaganda and to use this farce for purposes that have nothing to do with human rights, diplomacy, and dialogue among states, and has nothing to do with the work of this august committee. Hence, we call for an end to these unacceptable practices by voting against L50, abstaining, or not attending the vote. Finally, I have a word for the representative of the American administration. Instead of making collisions to sponsor terrorism and to spread fire in my country and other countries, maybe it's better for this administration to form an international alliance to put off the fires in California. Maybe this would be better for the US than anything else.
I thank the Syrian Arab Republic. I now give the